Hi, welcome to Hillcrest Sermons, growing together.
Show us your heart's delight.
If you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, I got to share alongside of my friend Stevie, Cairns. He got to share a bit of his story with us and encourage us to move forward, move towards people in their pain. And this week we get to hear Stevie preach. So if you would just join me in welcoming Stevie.
Hey, what's up?
If you weren't here, Stevie is one of our campus pastors with the university ministry, and so Stevie, we're excited to hear the word from you today.
Yeah, I'm super excited. What's going on? This is great to be up again with you all. Love it, love it.
Is your mic turned on?
It's turned on, I think.
Turned on.
You all hear me? No? No? Oh, there we go. Okay, officially, good morning. Good to be with you all. This is sweet. Man, yeah, I love it. Not just once this month, but twice. This is good. This is good. Again, my name is Stevie. I'm going to be a campus missionary on staff with CCF. It's a delight to do this job, and it's great to be with you all. I got to be a little honest, though. I didn't actually get time to finish my sermon. I know, you're like, what? The intro is I'm a little nervous about it. So actually, I thought we're talking about technology today, and I was like, let's phone in a friend. So, ChatGPT, are you there? Oh, thanks for being here. I usually talk to you and ask you questions like, do dogs go to heaven? Or can you fix this email for me? But I actually need your help. I'm on stage right now in front of all these people. I need help with my intro on technology. Do you have any ideas about that?
That sounds stressful.
Correct. I'm glad you feel that.
One helpful strategy is to share a personal story. Maybe share some stories about your own life. Some positive, some negative.
Okay. That's a great idea. I'll start there. Also, ChatGPT, you sound a lot like the youth pastor Casey. Do you know him by chance?
I'm just a robot, but I can tell you anything you want to know about Casey Stringer. Casey Stringer is a youth pastor at Hillcrest Church. He lives at 311.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you, ChatGPT. Wow, that was amazing. That was great. Okay, I think officially I'm ready to get going here. Here we're going to start out. And I actually want to share you a couple scenarios from my own personal life about technology and how that kind of, impacted my life as well. So I'm a college pastor, and I also get to live with college students at my house called The Bayou. Here's a picture of us. 8 of us. We're at Whistler together, fun trip. And they're great guys. Got some college students and some graduates as well. And I kind of want to give you a little snapshot in a day in the life of when I come home, what that is like in a community house, okay? So scenario 1 here, all right? I get in, I roll into the kitchen. It's kind of where you first enter in the house. And I see a couple guys cooking dinner. So I'm asking them, hey, how was your day? What's going on? Ask about my day. We'll check in. Then I'll look over to my left in the dining room area, and there's a couple guys often playing a board game. So I'll check in how their day was going, what's going, who's winning. They'll try to explain the game to me, but I will not understand what game they're playing. It's probably Simon or Josiah. They're legit in their games. And I roll into the living room, and there's more people because it's a community house. And I ask what's going on. They're probably playing foosball, or most likely they're watching Disney. This community house, I was surprised when I invited these guys to live with me, how much they would love Disney and how much I would learn about Disney. I said I didn't like Toy Story that much, and they were like, what? Which that actually right here could be controversial too. But anyway, so they were like, no way. Anyway, so that's kind of scenario 1. Then the second scenario is I roll into my driveway, park my car, and I stay in my car. Grab my phone, and I just scroll. I'm exhausted from the day, and I just want to check out and not even actually leave my car, right? One scenario is deep life and meaningful connection. We're not just guys living together in the same house, but we're actually friends, wanting to know each other and be known. And the second scenario is a grown man hiding in his car, wasting his time on nothing of actual meaning or importance. Today I wanted to talk about technology. We've been talking about, relationships in tension and how the impact of that. And I want to talk about specifically for us about technology. And the tension that can feel in our lives with the relationships around us as well. Today we're going to talk about how life is not found in your phone, in your TV, in your video games, but is found in the people God has placed around you. To start that, we're going to actually look at this Romans passage we just read earlier, Romans 1:9. And I love this. This is Paul's, we can just so sense his drive and his passion to be with his people, right? He says things like, how constantly I remember you in my prayers, and at all times I pray that at last, by God's will, the way may be opened for me to come to you. You can just sense his longing. And I wonder for us even, has there been a moment where you just really want to be with your people again? Maybe you're in college, you're in the classroom, and you just are thinking back to being with your family on a Saturday morning. Or you love Christmas, you love the holidays. It's that time when all the kids are back together again. So as you get closer to the holidays, you start feeling that anticipation for seeing your kids again, right? That longing for something. That's what Paul is feeling, or you can kind of clue in on that in that time. And I also think what's awesome about this moment, and even this idea of being present with people, that is the heart of God in the whole story of the Bible, right? It is God wanting to be with us, be with humanity, be with his image bearers, his children. We think of the Garden of Eden. God wanted to be with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day, walking together. Or you have the tabernacle and the temple being placed right on the capital city of Israel, right? Jesus coming down to be with us. Then he invites the 12 to be with him and know him personally. At the very end, the whole story of the Bible, you have Revelations, right? Where every tongue, tribe, and nation with God, praising God. And then we have this verse right here where we get to see Paul expressing his longing to be with his people. And it's just a reflection of God's own heart for us and his vision for us to be with community as well. A story I think of with just vibrant life, in-person community, how great that is, and also how kind of risky can be as well. I want to first introduce you guys some missionaries that we all know of, Zach and Joe Welsh. They're amazing people, close friends of ours. They recently moved to Dominican Republic to be missionaries. They were missionaries here on the university campus, and now they're missionaries over there to college students as well. And you can imagine, right, it was a recent thing for them. They had their whole life here. They had their friends, their family, their world, and they moved it all to the DR. And so we could sense it was really good, this calling to follow God, and it was really hard. So we tried texting and calling and all those kind of things, and then we just knew it wasn't enough. Something about it wasn't as encouraging as wanting to be with them. So Jeff and Emily Jenkins had the brilliant idea of doing the hard work and visiting them in Costa Rica. So here's us, just being kind people and visiting them while they just find some friends and move to Costa Rica and go visit them for sure. And it was just a great time of meaningful connection. And there was one story that I really just want to share with you guys. There was a moment we were on the beach, me and Zach, and we're just getting burned, just roasted. And I look over to Zach and I'm like, hey, Zach, I want to go swimming. You want to go swimming with me? Let's do it, And a couple things to know about this scenario with swimming in Costa Rica. It's not the Bellingham Bay. The waves are very different. And also, I got to get a piggyback ride. So when I asked Zach, do you want to go swim with me? Really, I'm like, hey, can I get a lift into the water? You know what I mean? And so he's like, for sure, dude. So I hop in, off his back, we're walking. I start hearing him huffing and puffing. And I'm like, oh, he's dehydrated. He shouldn't be doing this. But if you know Zach, right, he will lay his life down for his friend. Like that text, he lives it out. And so we keep going. It felt like a mile, but we're finally in the water. I plop in, what I'm saying? We're floating around. And then we start kind of going towards the waves. And that's when we see this wave that I had never seen a bigger wave in my life. And it felt like a slow-mo movie because the wave's coming and we didn't have time to look at each other, recognize what we were seeing. I grab his hand because I'm like, I need some stability. I'm about to get, and then boom, this wave hits. And I'm not sure I've experienced it before in the water like this, but it was so ridiculous. It was so wild. I couldn't actually know where up and down was. I was getting tossed around. I wasn't sure where to swim to the surface. And that's when I started it became a real fun thing to a really scary thing in that moment. And then I just feel this hand. I mean, dude, just grab me and pull me out. And there's Zach, just red, just exhausted, being like, we are leaving this place. Get us out of here. So actually, Jeff came as well because Zach, he was too tired. And so we all left together. But I really want to share this story because those moments, they don't happen over FaceTime, right? those moments you can't, when was the last time you were at a dinner table and you shared an awesome moment of you FaceTiming a friend or texting someone, right? And I think there's even this kind of lure about our phones and technology where there's a safetyness to it. There's a comfortability to it. And yeah, maybe don't go in the ocean when it's giant waves. I'm not trying to recommend that, but I think there is an invitation. Even we see in Paul's letter, he prioritizes people first, right? It's relationship leads for him, right? And there's a risk in that. There's an uncomfortability in it. But in that, there's so much adventure in that too. So that's an encouragement as well around technology for us too. And I think, overall we get it. Like we get that being in person, face-to-face is way better. We all had some experiences with Zoom. We definitely rather be with each other, right? And I think we've talked about this too in our sermon, like moving towards people in their pain. Handling conflict, not over text, but with each other. That the gift, the importance of being together, just how we're doing right now, with community and with one another. And what I want to talk about this, what I want us to think about this morning is the ways that our use of social media on our phones, entertainment like social media or movies or things like that, distracts us. It's not just a harmless tool or a game, but it actually can be something that's inviting us away from God's heart, God's vision for us in community, and something to recognize in that too. Now, I want to know too, I'm not here to like bash technology at all. In fact, I'm up here because of technology. I'm going to wheel around because of technology. Or even, I think of when I first got injured and the resource it was to like find online all the support and help and actual wisdom from other wheelchair users as well. So it's a gift in itself and it's really helpful. But at the same time, I think if we're honest with ourselves, there's something that can get in the way of us being with people. And I think that can be technology in a way for us too. So something for us to think about too, of just how that is for us. How is technology and how is our relationship with technology either pushing us towards people or away from people too. So I thought a helpful example as we kind of go into some more teaching of this was, y'all ever used a compass before? Anybody, like when you're in the forest, like you actually had your compass, like love to actually use some hands, like raise your hand if you, okay, wow, a lot of compasses, that's impressive. I actually had never used a compass before I looked into this sermon, but I'll be real. But I did use it on my car, the north, south, east, west thing, so I don't know if that counts. But I love technology, let's be real. But okay, here we go. So, and then here's the thing with technology, with compass, how it works. I'm gonna explain how it works, all right? So the world has a magnetic pole, it's crazy, and the north compass will always tell you where north is. So if you're looking over here, you'll know where north is, right? You're looking over here, it'll point you towards north. Well, what I want to talk about today and suggest today is when it comes to our relationship with each other, Paul paints us a picture of what true north looks like. Paints us a picture of what true north looks like. He says things like, I'm thankful for you. I pray for you. I want to see you. Not just on Zoom, but I actually want to be with you. And the reality is, social and entertainment technology in our lives can function like a competing magnetic field on the compass of our relationships, right? Our relationship technology can operate like a magnetic pole, right? It kind of veers you a little bit east, a little bit west, as you get more and more pulled into the distraction of it and the lure of it, right? And I think you can forget where our true north actually is. What is this vision that Jesus has for us to be known by one another, to be with each other? This vibrant sense of community can steer us away from that. So today I want to talk about three ways in particular I see that kind of pull for us around technology in particular. And it's not going to be an exhaustive list, but I think just imagine this can pull us off the path of God's intended vision for us being in thriving relationships with the people around us. And just things to consider as well. So the first thing here is the pull of comparison. I remember I was an intern with CCF, and one of these nuggets of wisdom I got with CCF was comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief, Julie, you know, is the thief of joy, right? And that is so true. And in this world of technology, social media, that just got amplified. You can go online and so quickly see what you should look like, how you should be, what you should be expected to be, at the level of. And instead of a device or a space that moves us towards each other, it can actually move us away from one another. It can pit us against each other, right? That I'm doing great if I'm looking a certain way, and if I'm not, what's actually my worth? What actually is my value? And I was thinking about this too with the gift of community in particular and what Paul points us to in this true sense of north in our community. And I was thinking about even the lies that can seep in around our bodies, around our jobs, around our worth, right? In these kind of spaces like social media. And I think about the truth that we know in who Jesus is, that our worth is not in something we do or produce or whatever, but actually it's in Jesus who made us by hand, right? Who knows us, who formed us. And I was thinking about the places where I've learned that in my life, where I've heard that truth, and it's been in these kind of spaces, with people, in community, right? That's where I've heard, oh, Jesus loves me, he made me. That is the truth. And so I know that can be actually a tender thing for some of us, even as there's moments or actions you can think of online that have hurt. I thought, what good news it is, invitation to be together where we can learn those truths together. Okay, the next thing here is we have the pull to distract. Oh man, the pull to distract. This one hit home for me, guys. If I can avoid some pain in my life, I can avoid like a hard conversation. Thanks, Tim, for that. That was encouraging. Like, if I can avoid the anxiety in my life, I'm going to do it for sure. And then think about this. You have your phone with this endless opportunities of distraction. The reels are hilarious. The online shopping is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are real pulls that are so fun in its own way. But man, can it distract us from reality? And if anything, this true north sense we get from Paul is that Jesus is found in reality, right? And I think we got to consider there's real harm that we can cause in the people we care most about when we check out instead of move towards, right? I think of this quote right here. So there's a book. It was a crazy quote. There's a book, Andy Crouch, The Tech Wise Family, and they asked teenagers. They're like, hey, like if there's one thing you could like change about relationship with your parents, what would you say? And they said they wish their parents would spend less time on their phones and more time talking to them. My mouth dropped when I read that. I was like, no way. So you're saying even the people most precious to us, no doubt that we love, that we want to move towards, even them, our phones, or that email you want to check one more time, right? Or even planning something for your kids that you want to coordinate one more thing can actually distract us from the gifts that God has put us right in our lives, right? And I think, I want to say too is I get it as well. Like, it can be hard to face reality. I know that. I think of even more, another space we see that happening in video games. This amazing world. You can be anybody you want. It's fantastic. Also, I was thinking more about it, just what is that do to us as well? And I think there's a really good side of that, and also something to be aware of what that can pull us into and out of reality a bit too in this world that we can just make up. Okay, I want to get real here for a second with you all. This is a bit darker, but I think it's really important to talk about. What about watching porn? If we don't like the reality we're in, we can enter a whole new world of sex and fantasy relationships instead of the real world messiness of sex and relationships in our real lives. As you've already seen, Paul's vision of true north when it comes to relationships is with real people. People are messy, and technology provides an all too easy way to distract, to check out, and to create our own world without actual people involved, right? Okay, last one here. Our pull to hide. Our pull to hide. Or hiddenness. I thought of this one. This one came to mind just thinking about like how unique this is for technology and for especially social media entertainment, how we can be anonymous as we go into things. There's almost this cloak that we can have of being anonymous. I didn't even think of how we can say things or do things that we would never do if the person was right in front of us, right? There's a sense of this distance, of otherness, of actually, they're not even really a person in that moment. I think of online bullying and how a student, even after school, can be in their room and send a harmful message or receive a harmful message and not even be in person on that. Like that, that distance is there, that cloak is there that we can hide behind as well. Social media, online communication are a magnetic pull away from like reality, right? Away from being together and actually seeing each other, being with each other. And God is someone who wants to turn the lights on, right? He wants to be someone that invites us to live where we can be seen and known and where community is. So I think a helpful question here would be, what do we do in light of this, right? So we've seen some of the harder aspects of technology and entertainment. Maybe you all can be like, yeah, this is actually not new. I get this stuff. I see it with my own family or my own, my own school or whatever it be. What do we do in light of this reality around technology? And actually, I want to talk about what we looked at last week in particular, in the verse that Tim showed us about in Romans 12, verse 2. It says this, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you," which I love that. We're going to stop right there. We're talking about some habits we can change and some ways we can put some boundaries on our phone, but y'all, we aren't going to be our own superheroes. We aren't going to save ourselves. This is where we're going to full stop right here and look at, but let God transform you. He's the one that's going to transform us, right? Keep going. It says, into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you. You'll recognize where your truth north is, where Jesus is, and what he is doing. You will see that clearly. His will for you, which is good, it's pleasing, and perfect. So the question I think for us to think about is, where are we copying the behavior and customs of this world? How are we doing with our phones? Simple question, like how are you feeling about your relationship with technology, right? I think too, the next part of this as well, we kind of process, okay, what's our awareness of this? But then also, God's asking us also to then change with him too. And this is a unique thing too I love about following God, that it's a partnership, right? It's not just like, all right, Lord, like transform me, let's do this thing. But actually like we're invited to move towards him and be in step with him and his transformation he wants to do in our lives. So I think of how it can go both ways, how little moments, little habits can shape us over time and shape the things that we love, the things that we're pulled to, right? I think of how in the morning for me, as I was reflecting more about this, like often I'll just get up, the first thing I do, my phone, instantly. Just, I'm like, whoa, like I wonder over time what that has done for me. And at the same time, we can also use these habits and these little moments to put up guardrails in our life, right? To move towards this true north of what Jesus has for us, to learn what he loves, and to have that shape our heart too. I think of that same moment in the morning. Maybe instead of check my phone for the first time, I actually just make my bed, which could be good. My mom would love that. But also like, just have a moment to like take a breath. And like, I wonder over time, maybe I would just think more about God, or like, I don't know, just be less in my mind, you know what I mean? In that way too. So I think for us as well, like what's really cool is we could keep going on these lists. Like we could just share ideas like, oh, I love this kind of, how can we change, and little habits. I'm not sure if you've like read the book Atomic Habits, where like, it's all about what can you do, little moments over time. But what I love about this moment right here is we actually, I bet, have done a lot of things to put boundaries on our phones. Or we have ideas right now of things you want to try. And I was thinking about this for ourselves, and how can we practically be with each other and move towards each other? And I was like, you know what we should do? We should talk to each other. I was like, let's do that. So I'm going to have a question on the board right here, and actually, you are going to resource each other right now and share ideas. So the question here is, what have you done in the past to put a shield around technology? So what have you done in the past to basically like limit the pull of technology? Maybe it's a better way to say it, right? The pull of technology in our lives. And so I just want to encourage you to share that with each other. And here's the thing too, if you see someone sitting by themselves, I'd encourage you to move towards them as well and make sure no one's sitting by themselves or talking by themselves as we answer this question, okay? So go ahead and test with each other, and then we'll come back in a little brief moment, okay? Thanks, guys. Oh, gotta get water for sure. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. We could be talking all day about this. This is so good. Okay, right, about 10 more seconds. Wind your conversations down. Y'all, this is a beautiful moment right here. This is so good, right? That like, there's so much that we can learn from each other as well, right? That we come here to like receive from the pastor who thought the sermon up, which is so good, but we can actually, right here is a picture of us discipling one another, right? The Lord is speaking to us and teaching us, and then we can move for each other, be with each other, and there's something really good to learn from each other too. So this is a great moment to see us moving toward each other and also discipling one another as well. Is a great, great thing. And I also thought I want to come with an idea as well for you guys. So you probably see on your me sat on it maybe, but a little sheet right there, right? I want to invite you guys to consider with me a 24-hour tech fast. Whoa, that's right. Let's do it. So I did this last week, and it was actually phenomenal. I loved it, and I really would encourage you all to do it. I think of a couple reasons why with this. I think when I did it, I realized how much it raised my awareness. Like, it's so hard when you're kind of fishing water, you're swimming, doing your thing. It's so hard to know actually, like, what is the pull of my phone on my life, right? For me, it actually revealed a lot of things. I didn't realize for me how much I, like, use my phone as almost like an anxiety blanket. Like, whenever I get a little anxious, I'll just, like, go for my phone. I was like, or even, I'll be real, during the sermon, halfway through, I'm like, where's my phone at? I got to check it. I'm like, what am I doing? The Lord's like, you got an hour 15 with me. Like, what are you doing checking your phone? You know what I mean? So it was revealing. And then also, I found it really helpful, even in like having the imagination of what else could I do? Like, it just kind of showed me, like, I was even thinking, like, what if I just left my phone in my house and I left the house? Like, once a week, I just did that. I didn't even think about that, but there was something actually really exciting and freeing about that idea that came from this as well. So, and you'll see as well on that sheet that it'll really invite you to do it with people. That's like number one key, man, is invite someone. So me, my housemate, Nathan Shin, he was a little reluctant at first. He was, but man, he jumped in and it was so good. I asked him like the night before. I was like, hey, tomorrow, let's not use our phones at all or any video games. He's like, but then he did it and it was great. It was great. So anyways, so do it with people. There's even some questions to reflect afterwards. It's not, and again, not meant to be a super rule, like heavy rules kind of thing. Like obviously I know everyone has their different worlds they're in and things, but the most you can do to make it honestly a bit uncomfortable and with people, I found it really, really encouraging too as well. So Carlo, you can come up and the worship team can come up as we wrap our time up. I just had one last thought I want to share with you all. As we close our time here together, I just want us to know that like Jesus' heart is not that we would, get our screen time down to 20 minutes, right? It's not that like, oh man, I limit my phone usage and I earn all these holy points, right? The reality is like Jesus loves you. He wants you to have life and life to the fullest. That's what this invitation here is. This invitation to look up from the screens that capture us, that we're captured by the hiddenness of it, the cloak of being anonymous in it. And put that down. And you hear Jesus saying, hey, I want to be with you. I have people that I've put in your life that want to be with you. Come have life. I think of it even saying like, I have dreams for you, for your friendships that are beyond anything you could even think of or hope for yourself. That as you're talking with Jesus, I just imagine us like putting our hands out to him, putting the phone down, putting our hands up and being, Jesus, I want to make room for you in my life. I want with my body right now, put my hands up and surrender to you the things that I got to admit can actually get my attention more than I really would like to say. I get pulled in more than I would actually want to tell you. But I know you have something for me. I didn't even think, for some of us, it might not even be just about us, but actually for someone else this invitation is for. That as you put your phone down or as you change something, with technology, that actually he's going to give you some eyes to see someone else in your life you haven't even noticed before. He's going to want you to give that gift to someone else. I don't even think just for us as a church that is our call, right? That when the Lord gives us something, he gives us a gift of faith, a vibrant community. He not just invites us to hold that to ourselves, but then to pass that on to our neighbor, our classmate, whoever that is. But it starts with that first moment of having our hands up out to Jesus and saying, you want to make room? I want to make room for you in my life. I want to make room for you to move in my life. So we're going to sing that song actually about that. And I would actually invite you as we stand up to like have your hands out wide and ask the Lord, what can I actually move? Maybe it is the tech fast. Maybe it's just talking with a buddy and processing about technology, right? There's little insignificant moments and how they can just add up, right? Maybe it's that, but just have your hands out in this song as a way for your body to respond to what you want to kind of, that true north you want to point towards for your mind and your heart. Of Jesus, I want to surrender my life to you. I trust you with it as well. So we're going to sing that as we go into our next part of worship here.
Thanks for listening. For more info, visit hcbellingham.com and join us any Sunday, 9 and 11 a.m.